Now shifting focus to COVID-19, with the cases shooting up in China, Hong Kong, South Korea and some parts of Europe, there are concerns about a possible surge in other countries as well. However, Indian scientists have observed that it is highly unlikely that India could mirror the COVID graph of other countries. Battling for continuation of COVID relaxations, Dr. Samiran Panda, Additional Director General of ICMR, says, and I quote, that people cannot continue to live in the fear of COVID surging elsewhere. However, he maintains that one should closely monitor the developing scenarios. And now I'm being joined by Dr. Rajib Dasgupta, who is a key member of the National COVID Task Force. Sir, welcome to the broadcast and thank you for your time. So I want to start you by asking that what is the road ahead for India? We've seen in the past too, before the grisly second wave, not enough meetings were conducted, not enough stock was taken of the situation, which later went on to become a huge bone of contention between the political parties as well as the citizens, you know, with mounting questions to the government as to why not enough stock and preparation was made. So what is the road ahead for India this time? Do you think we're still being lax?
Thank you. The good news first. Overall, the decline of COVID cases globally continues. And to add further to that good news, however short run it may be, which only time will tell, that the WHO Southeast Asian region, which is where India is located, also continues to see a decline, roughly 20% decline in the last week. But contrast this with the rise in the new cases in the Western Pacific region, which includes China and South Korea, where most of the current increase is visible now. That's a plus 29% increase in new cases in the last week. So the advisory and the caution coming in from the central government's Ministry of Health is most likely rooted in that. The other red flag to look at is South Africa, where the Omicron-led surge initially started, and a lot of rich experience we learned from there. In their most affected Gauteng province, which is one of their most urbanized provinces, current evidence indicates that the BA2 subvariant, which is what is fueling the current surge in China, South Africa, etc., that also seems to be giving rise to cases there in Gauteng province, which earlier had suffered a very large Omicron-led wave or surge. Now, to put it in simpler terms, India can certainly expect to see new surges, and the fact that we had Omicron very recently doesn't necessarily mean that India will be unaffected or parts of India will be unaffected. But the other good news, again from South Africa, is that despite evidence that the BA2 spreads more rapidly than BA1, the evidence so far is that clinically it does not cause severe disease, and therefore India may not be in great difficulty, just like we weren't during the Omicron phase a couple of months earlier.
Well, yeah, that's right. Thank you for those valuable inputs. I want to ask another question here that what could be the possible impact on India? We've all seen that how it starts from West and eventually it comes down to India. So what could be the possible impact? And is it time that we already start stepping up measures to halt the international travel from these very countries?
No, it's quite clear that there's no question of banning incoming passengers from certain countries and so on. That's certainly not advisable, one. Second, India will need to step up its genomic surveillance. Already evidence from Tamil Nadu, from West Bengal indicates that BA2 is proportionately speaking on the rise compared to BA1, and therefore that may augur surges in these areas. But then, as we have seen in the earlier phases of COVID also, and as can be expected, this would be a city-by-city or a state-by-state phenomena, and India now has enough experience to handle it.
All right. Thank you so much, sir, for all those valuable inputs.